Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. Today, we're going to talk about the origin of green beauty. My name is Jessie Furnil, and I'm the founder and formulator of Adélie, an upcoming organic luxury skincare brand launching this September of 2018. I'm also a first-generation Latina born in New York City of parents from Dominican Republic. My, sorry, my journey into mindfulness and wellness actually birthed from my daughter developing eczema as a baby. And during my quest to calm her and resolve her painful skin condition, I found myself transitioning to a more holistic lifestyle altogether. From seeing her skin improvement, thanks to my creation of natural skincare products, along with our lifestyle changes, I then discovered what it was my life's calling. When I began, it was pretty much as a hobby, and it later evolved into specializing my professional studies in organic skincare formulation with Formula Botanica, which is the top world accredited learning school in organic cosmetic science. Having over 20 years of professional experience in hospitality administration within the luxury service industry, I then discovered that my niche was actually met to my standards within the natural skincare industry. And therefore, Adélie was born. Adélie not only is special to me, but it's actually a blend of my two daughters' name. And it's a representation of the merging of my passions, my studies, and experience to provide a top quality organic skincare line. And now I'm going to introduce you to Cindy, who I'm also collaborating with.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cindy Luquin. I am the founder and speaker of CULTURA con Wellness. That is a platform that's helping women with fertility awareness method research, reproductive justice, and wellness. And I'm also a first-generation Latina, born in LA, born and raised from parents of El Salvador and Guatemala. My wellness journey began when doctors discovered that I had a grapefruit-sized cyst on one of my ovaries, and that later led to surgery and removal of the entire ovary. After 6 years of taking hormonal birth control, I found that that had a negative impact on my body, and that led to me finding fertility awareness method and living a more holistic lifestyle. So using my 10 years of professional experience in educational interpretation and healthcare interpreting training, my goal is to become a fertility awareness method educator and to teach body literacy to women and high school students in order to empower their reproductive health decisions. I'm currently working on my master's in Latin American studies, and my research is actually focused on fertility awareness methods among Latinas and Black women. So thank you for being here.
Right, thank you, everyone. Cindy, do you want to tell them a little bit better why was the whole reasoning behind us getting together and actually providing this recording today?
Yeah, so Jessie and I started developing a relationship, and we realized that we had a lot of things in common. Not only are we Latinas and first generation here in the US, but we also discovered that we have an affinity for green beauty. So with that commonality, we started talking, and we realized that about the interpretation of our experience within the green beauty community, much of the messaging in the industry was not being addressed the way that we felt. So we recognized that what's being advertised as new or trendy or this new age is in fact more familiar to us already, taking into account our own cultural background. That's why we decided to plan this talk and do a little bit research to get in deeper about what green beauty really is and where it originates from. So we're gonna go ahead and highlight a few things, and then Jessie can go ahead and start.
Thank you, Cindy. All right, so when we started our research, we noticed that actually there was a timeline of different events that have been happening for thousands of years. And the furthest back culture that we were able to track was actually the practice within the Vedic culture of India, which is Ayurveda. Ayur means life and Veda, science or knowledge. This practice actually began over 5,000 years ago. And it's all about natural healing. From here, the Tibetan medicine and as well as the traditional Chinese medicine both have their roots from Ayurveda. So not only that, we also noticed that the early Greek medicine also embraced many of the concepts originally described in the classical Ayurvedic medical texts dating back several thousands of years. It is amazing to actually see that this over 5,000 years old practice, Ayurveda reminds us that health is the balanced and dynamic integration between our environment, body, mind, and spirit. Then later on in history, we found that the ancient Egyptians, who are actually the pioneer in cosmetics, which is the field that I specialized, they believed that life was a celebration and one would want to look one's best when you go to any party. So therefore for them, it was very important to focus on personal hygiene as an important cultural value. The Egyptians bathe daily, they shave their heads to prevent lice and other problems, and they regularly use cosmetics, perfumes, breath mints, even deodorants. It is thanks to the Egyptians that we actually should thank the origin of everything that has to do with the cosmetic and personal care in general for the purpose of presenting ourselves in our best way. The first cosmetic product was actually made over 4,000 years ago. So first 5,000 years ago was Ayurveda, then 4,000 years ago, cosmetics were actually created by the Egyptians. And not only that, they were even laying their tombs with their own cosmetics because they believed that even in their afterlife, they should look their best. So they would actually bury their death with all their cosmetic essentials that they used during their lifetime. So in their afterlife, they also had them handy to keep their upkeep because it was, again, it was just that valued within their culture. And okay, within something that I haven't mentioned yet is that within the cosmetics, and again, this is where I feel super passionate about, the Egyptians actually, there's actual research that has been confirmed and excavated and found that they did have cosmetic products actually designed with essential oils specifically just for the upkeeping of their appearance of their skin. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and follow on the timeline through Cindy.
Thank you, Jessie. So next we're gonna look at Mayan beauty secrets. So thanks in large part to the work of the Mayans and herbalism that they had, modern chemists today are actually learning more about herbs and how they affect the body. They're also recognizing that the aging process is accelerated by the polluting chemicals of modern life. So everyday life, we're surrounded by chemicals and toxic things that we may not see, but they are floating around. They're also recognizing that most believe antioxidants can halt this process. So given where they lived, a number of Mayan facial masks and washes were made from plants and trees of the Southwest US and Central America. And one of the reasons for the emphasis on facial skin is that the ancient Mayans, not only for the emphasis on facial skin, is that ancient Mayans did not have diagnostic equipment, they treated symptoms. So an aging face, and as one who is aging as well, and well, going into her 30s or already in her 30s, it's pretty difficult to hide. And so Jessie and I believe that it's better to prevent and protect. So Mayan society is more than 3,000 years ago. Interestingly, even in its most ancient days, it was much like our society today. They had plentiful food and sophisticated healthcare. So it's thanks to the Mayans that now we're introducing plant healing powers, if we call it that, and a lot of plant-based skincare, especially beneficial to the facial skin. So I'll go ahead and let Jessie continue.
Thank you, Cindy. With that said, then later on within the timeline, 2,500 years ago, it is when the foundation of the traditional Chinese medicine was born. It is actual medical practice that includes various forms of herbal medicine, acupuncture, massage, exercise, and dietary therapy. But recently has also influenced by modern Western medicine. The four key of the traditional Chinese medicine principles are your body is an integrated whole. You are completely connected to nature. You were born with the natural self-healing ability, and prevention is the best cure. As you can see, from 5,000 years ago, when the Ayurveda was born, they were talking about mindfulness as an overall concept of being connected with your environment, with your body, your spirit, your mind. Then later on, also the Egyptians, they believe on the upkeep also of your body, how you took care of your body as an essential within their own culture. Not only that, then you also see the Mayans as well, relying so heavily on the knowledge of the herbal knowledge for treating all symptoms, may that be beautifying your skin, may that be preventing aging, or overall just keeping up with your well-being. And now looking at the traditional Chinese medicine, it's pretty much just a repeated message over time, regardless in which geography of the world. To this day, the parameters of wellness remain to be the same. Mindfulness of your environment, because again, if we are not responsible, we're not taking care of your environment, we cannot have clean air, we cannot have clean water, and these are essentials for a life form. We need to keep mindful of our body, not only the physical state, but our mind, our emotional state, and our spiritual beliefs. And lastly, prevention, may that be through nutrition, may that be from personal care practices or habits. And it's beautiful to see how all these other cultures are the actual origin of what we call today as green beauty, natural skincare, herbalism, homeopathic medicine. Mm-hmm. It is reflected in so many different ways that in this part of the world, it's now trending, popular. Yeah. It's been done for such a long time with different names within different cultures. It's beautiful to see the message actually getting the recognition that it has been long known throughout history. Mm-hmm. But I feel that we both felt that opening up this conversation would allow people to relax a little better and shift their mentality. This is not something new. It's rather more look back into your own culture, and it's more likely than not that those practices are already ingrained. You just miss them. You miss the knowledge or knowing about them. For whatever reason, may that be modern lifestyle in which having access to readily information is at your fingertip, and whoever says whatever to you last, that's what you remember the most. And we felt that having this conversation and going back to the origins of our own culture, whatever part of the world you're from, will actually highlight new information of existing practices that your ancestors already knew. So you have a chance to tap into that knowledge from just going back, reclaiming that connection within your own culture. I'm gonna go ahead with Cindy, because otherwise I'm never going to end talking.
I think those are really great points that Jessie brings up, because there's also something about reconnecting with your ancestry that's very healing. So that's an important factor to remember, that no matter, like she said, whatever part of the world you're from and wherever your ancestry is from, reconnect with that, reclaim that, and reclaim with those green beauty practices, as we would call them now, because it's really all about overall health and wellness. And there's a healing aspect to all of that, and it's intergenerational and all kinds of things. There's pride that you get from learning about those things, and you get more of a sense of who you are having done so. So another thing that we actually looked at was sharing what our mothers, our aunts, our family members, what were their beauty care or health care routines or tips, actually. So something that we shared was, eating cucumbers for good skin, or you would put cucumber slices on your eyes to help with depuffing the eyes. It's very common now. Now you see those masks, but back then it was just slices of cucumber that you'd put on your face.
Aloe vera. Feel one and go at it. It'll work.
Exactly. Aloe vera to treat, especially for me growing up, you know, getting a piece of aloe vera and you just put the aloe vera on your skin after you went out to the sun. If you were sunburned, that was very soothing for your skin. What else? Cacao butter, you know, to fade skin scars. Lemongrass from, I know Jessie mentioned she would use a lot of lemongrass from her backyard and it would help with menstrual cramps. And
Actually make
those,
tea with a root. So wash it off, tie it, and steep the tea. And that tea is usually like a common practice in Dominican Republic to aid with menstrual cramps.
mhm, definitely. So green beauty has always existed. As Jessie mentioned, the Egyptians were the first ones that brought cosmetics to the world, basically, and then passing on the knowledge of natural remedies to the next generations of self-care. You know, I'm sure that I can't speak for, because I'm not a parent yet, but it's something that I have thought about when I am ready to expand my family, you know, just like these practices, for example, from my grandmothers, that they were very, well, one side was very traditional in the sense of food, you know, because she's from Guatemala, and the other side was very traditional in the sense of cosmetics, you know, taking care of your skin, because she was from El Salvador. And even she's no longer around, but I remember that she always had great skin. Something as simple as using a cotton small toallita, a little towel,
The
you know,
washcloth, yeah.
she would a washcloth. She would always say that that was the best thing for her skin, and that's why her skin was so good until, you know, the end of her days. But she'd always say, you know, you gotta be gentle with your skin. Hay que cuidarse because you only got one face, and you can't be rough with it. And it was a natural exfoliation as well. And you know, you should use that little washcloth to like wash your whole body too. So those simple practices I think are really important, and they really create more connections than we realize.
Yeah, I also feel that as we evolve in time, there's a lot of merging of new cultures. I know, for example, I'm a first generation and my daughters are a second generation, and life will go on. And we keep on merging new culture with another. And there's always like a miss of identity, which I
Mm-hmm.
can speak personally, um, as you know, as time keeps moving on, that I feel that reclaiming that connection gives you a sense of home,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's always in you because it's already part of your own blood. Um, my grandmother, it's from her is that I actually learned all about herbs by just seeing her, because it was just so intuitive. The natural remedies, the caring for your skin, the mindfulness to make yourself a priority.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in our day and age, we're so reliant on technology. It's has done beautiful advances, but has also handicapped us from common sense in general.
Yeah.
And I felt that we needed to open up this conversation and at least put it out there and manifest this information for others that might feel the same way as us, to
Mm-hmm.
understand you're not alone. Yes, this feeling is, it's mutual. This has been going around for a while, the whole wellness concept. Thank goodness it's reclaiming its place. It's beautiful. But also, we need to remember that where we get our information from,
Mm-hmm.
who is providing you that information, it's qualified as well to provide you that information. And that's something that, unfortunately, in the day of social media, the internet in general, there's a lot of misleading information with beautiful intention. I'd rather think that it's beautiful intention than just commercial intention. And it makes it very challenging to skim the truth, the facts from from old wives' tale, or just intertwine marketing strategy for retailing a specific product. And also, when we first started talking, I remember reading an article that Cindy had shared about quinoa cultivation and how it has affected back, and I believe it's in Peru. Is it in Peru? Correct me if I'm mistaken. How it actually affected the indigenous people there, where this was their life source. And in fact, within the Peruvian culture, up to until recently, it was considered a poor people's food. And now that has been over commercialized in the let's say over here in the United States or in other parts of the world as a superfood, because yes, it is nutritionally high in nutrient value, it actually has affected. And that's also part of carrying on the environment if we don't take care of our farmers.
Of the people that have been using this medicine, basically, food medicine, plant medicine, remembering them first.
Right.
Because how is that affecting them? You know, their land, their home, their livelihood. Their livelihood, a lot of it depends on the fact that they cultivate, they harvest these superfoods, as we call them here.
And I think that's also another part of the conversation that can be overglanced when the message is first communicated about, may that be green beauty. Oh, here's an exotic ingredient that has come from a very indigenous part of the world. And yes, it is super
like chia too now.
Yes, and the list will go on. The list will go on, and it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate when, I don't know, from a consumer perspective, it's beautiful to discover a new resource that we can implement. But also as a consumer, we also need to have consciousness
and mindfulness.
And mindfulness in general, that when those resources are gathered, is there any given back kind of product behind the company that is sourcing an ingredient? And I feel that middle step,
that gap still hasn't been
right.
And there's the disconnect there.
Correct. And I feel like it's beautiful to provide economic influx to an indigenous area, because that would allow them to provide better commodities for their own family. That's beautiful. But also, let's not just strip them out of greed. Because at the end of the day, you're not helping the environment, you're not helping the originator of that resource. And I know that I would feel bad for endangering a resource. I would feel bad as a consumer if I've been educated about it. The same topic of palm oil within cosmetic has been very, very polemic, and yet it still remains even in the food industry. And there have been ways for fair trade, which is a form of sustainability. At least some entity is holding liable a certain group to provide sustainable practices. So it is possible. I feel that within the natural community, wellness, green beauty, nutrition, we need to also emphasize the importance of sustainability.
Yes.
Because I do feel it's like a full ecosystem. It's just it's not a one-way street. The resource and consumer. No, I feel there's a whole ecosystem, from the environment, from the agriculture, from the farmer, from the processing plant, to the distributor, to the retailer, until it gets to the consumer hand. And if we all do a little part to add rather than just strip away, I know that I feel better when I do that when I take that extra effort to make an impact, but also not just to give back at the same way that I also receive.
Yeah, those are really great points. So again, like we mentioned, so as Latina women, this has been nothing new, but it was really great that we got to reconnect with each other on that level, and to remember those values that a lot of our cultural knowledge contains, and that we can carry with us to further generations, and to respect the lands that our families came from as well. So what we would like for you to do is have some takeaways. So just ponder some of these questions that we thought about. How can you reconnect with your roots? If that may be through asking your mother what her beauty routine was, asking your abuelita or your grandmother what her beauty routine was, hair care, skin care tips. Just start paying attention to those things. Second question would be, what did you gain from this conversation? We would love for you to share actually what you gained from this, and letting us know in comments and reaching out to us. That really lets us know that there was a connection there. And also, the last thing is reclaim ownership of those habits, which are in fact holistic practices, rather than having somebody else reteach it to you. So really just dive deep into your own cultural heritage, and you'll probably find something that you realize like, oh, that actually came from, you know, my bloodline, that came from, you know, the motherland. And you'll see how amazing that is for you, not only for your identity, but it really has some healing factors to it. And it's overall wellness, sustainability, connecting mind, body, and spirit, which is really what Green Beauty all started about.
Right. Thank you so much, Cindy. I think
Thank you, Jesse.
so helpful. I hope everybody else found it helpful. I know that I feel so much better just starting off the conversation and bringing it out there and bring a completely different perspective from a speaker in fertility awareness method and also a Latina that is also in the wellness community, me as a cosmetic formulator within the green beauty community, and also a first generation Latina. You know how even from opposite ends, as it might be superficially seen, we still have a common ground. At the end of the day, it's about doing better based on what we know.
And sharing that knowledge with each other, and then sharing it with other people, which is why we're here. So please let us know what you think. We'd love to hear what some things that you've discovered about your cultural heritage, some green beauty practices or holistic practices that you have found. And then you can also subscribe to Jessie's newsletter. You can find her on Instagram at Adélie Skin. And you can also find me on Instagram at CULTURA con Wellness. And thank you so much, Jessie, for dropping your knowledge like always. I always learned so much from this woman, and you have to really
giving me compliments
follow her. Please follow her if you want to know more about organic skincare. This woman has put in the work and the effort to provide you with actual concrete knowledge about how formulations work and the benefits for the skin and the body. So thank you again, Jessie.
Thank you so much, you guys. Please go follow her. Follow Cindy. She's actually doing her Master in Latin American Studies and is actually specializing her thesis on fertility awareness methods, which is not only about reproduction, it's also about preventing unwanted pregnancy without compromising your sex life. But it's an adult here in this conversation. And to learn all that she finds on her own professional research. And she's actually providing workshops. She's preparing to do more speaking engagements. So stay in touch. There's amazing things coming. In fact, there's a second video in different segments to follow on this conversation from our own takeaways. Okay, I hope you guys have enjoyed. So stay tuned. There's more videos to follow, and I hope you enjoy. Leave us some comment, and we look forward to talk to you soon. Goodbye.
Bye.